The world is waking up at a rate of knots. There are individuals waking up every moment to the truth, to the reality of this existence, to who we are really. Of course, a lot of people aren't. I think the saying is, let sleeping dogs lie. They're asleep, they're ignorant, they're asleep in their ignorance, and a lot of people don't know what's going on. They're playing out their lives, treating their family members like crap, treating their friends like crap, not even aware that they're doing it, treating themselves like crap first, right? Not even aware that they're doing it because they haven't woken up yet. There's no opening in them yet. Pain will teach them though, and they'll come over to our side and they'll stop judging us as crazy because they realise that we have our fingers on the pulse of life. Today I'm going to talk about 5 signs that you might be waking up, and waking up faster than you might have thought. So by all means, if you're interested, stick around. So the first sign that you are awakening, waking up to the truth of who we are, going through a spiritual awakening faster than you perhaps think, is that for you, time feels like it's speeding up. Time's getting really weird for me, especially. I know I'm on the journey, I have been for years. But time is one of those things that is somewhat malleable, and you know that. It's perceptual. There's a reason why we say time flies when you're having fun. It's malleable, right? It feels faster because we're very much enjoying ourselves. There's no resistance. Resistance grounds you and takes you out of what I would say the moment. You can't ever leave the moment because you're always in this now moment, but it will take you out of the moment. It will put you upstairs in your mind so that you fight with this now moment, for example. And if you're doing less of that, time will inevitably speed up. So if you sometimes say to your friends, oh, remember that thing that happened a couple of weeks ago, and your friends are like, dude, that was 4 months ago, and you look back and you think, oh god, yeah, you're right, god, that time went fast, and your reference points for times are totally different to everybody else around you because it feels like time is speeding up for you, then there's a sign that you're going through a spiritual awakening and that you're waking up a lot faster. The reason, my feeling, is that you're going through lots of challenges, lots of sections in your life that would have happened over a longer period of time are now happening very, very quickly for you because you're able to process the karmic lessons, the lessons that need to be learned from these things quicker. Because you're going through this awakening, there's lots of new energy awakening inside of you. And yes, it's difficult, and yes, that energy nudges up against wounds in you, nudges up against tensions that we put there with our minds, and it makes the journey feel difficult and it pulls you apart in every direction. But nonetheless, you're going through an awakening process, and it's happening at an accelerated rate for you in comparison to people around you, and therefore it feels like time is speeding up. Another sign that you're going through the awakening process very quickly, a lot faster than you think perhaps, is you might notice that your life and your responses are changing. When I was going through my awakening process, I'm still going through it, of course, we all are to our own degrees, but when I was beginning my awakening process and I started making smart choices, different changes in my life, I'd sometimes come to a moment in my life where I'd usually be angry, say something played out in the external world that would usually make me angry or that would usually make me react in a certain way. I'd sometimes find myself actually not caring anymore. Like there was a spaciousness inside that just allowed whatever was happening to not bother me. And then you might look back and think, oh, I've just reacted differently. I'd have reacted that way before. I'm changing. How strange. It's fun though, right? But this is letting you know that really you are changing because you're less rooted, less grounded in this physical body, so to say. you're still here, you're still human, you're still in this physical form, right? But you're learning, and that learning and that new energy that this brings in is breeding good change in your life, because we're noticing that we're not just the body, there's so much more going on here. You might also notice, in relation to that your life is changing, that changes are happening externally. Maybe you're dealing with death externally in your life. Maybe it's happening around this time, and death is in your life for some reason. Maybe other changes, like job changes. Maybe life keeps putting you in different circumstances that you're not used to. Why? It's shaking up new energy. It's recycling energy in you so that you can use and harness that energy for your awakening process. It's also taking you out of stagnation. It's putting you in different scenery to see how you'll respond, to help you respond to change well, because life is always in a constant flow of change, whether we realise it or not. That is life. Life equals change. And we can sometimes try and stop those changes happening by controlling situations, by stamping our feet and grounding our heels in, but it doesn't work like that some of the time. So life will begin to start changing things for you, taking friends away, putting you in different situations so that you get used to the beginnings of what's going to be a miraculous change in you. You might find that another sign that you're waking up faster than you think is that you're being confronted with difficult decisions a lot more than you were before. You're now having to make these decisions that are going to help you grow. You're now having to say no to people sometimes. You're now having to say, brother, stop doing that sometimes to me, or stop being this way around me, because I don't give it to you. I don't give off that energy to you. Don't give it back to me. I don't expect it. I don't need it. I don't want it. And if we're going to carry on as friends, you're going to have to step up to the plate. And these difficult life decisions and these difficult conversations you might find yourself having at this time. And it's a notification from life just to say that you're awakening faster than you think. Big changes need to happen. Some small, but some big. You need to learn to respect yourself through those changes, and respect yourself enough to let other people know, and respect them enough to let people know that some of their actions are not in accordance with what you need in your life right now. So you may have to make tough, difficult decisions and get people out of your life that aren't serving you anymore. Sometimes you might realise that you're waking up spiritually quite fast when you realise that actually sometimes I just need to be selfish. I need to cut people off that are emotionally taxing. I'm not talking about necessarily family members, because we're usually here in family situations to help our families change. We have to deal, it's our karma, we have to deal with a little bit of grievance from our family. But when it comes to people that are friends that you don't have to stick to, that you don't have, you're not glued to like that, you can, and may I say should, if they are not working out for you, cut them out. In fact, don't listen to me. You need to learn that for yourself, and you need to make the decisions based upon your own feelings and take responsibility for those actions. So really don't listen to anything I say. They're just things that are helping me, that helped me, and that will help you if you want to take those things on. But you have to take responsibility for your own actions. You can't come back on the YouTube comments and say, you told me to do this, blah blah blah. No, I'm not saying do anything. I'm just saying if it feels right and you're resonating with what I'm saying, here's what you might have to do. Another hard lesson or feeling that you might get when you're waking up faster than perhaps you think is that you're having to face and confront some hard truths about yourself. Hear me out. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Trust me, I have loads of areas in which I'm growing, still growing. We will be forever and ever. This journey, this karmic journey, is never done. But there are probably some glaringly obvious things that we deny in ourselves, perhaps, that we always know are areas that we could probably grow, and that we're letting ourselves down and we're letting other people down, but that we are too scared to confront. We call it our shadow selves. And in doing the shadow work, in doing the awakening work, we're confronted with that. We're confronted with this ugly side of ourselves that we'd love to change. Luckily for you, this is the beginnings of that change, but you have to do the work, right? And you're doing that. That's why you're here. But now we're being confronted with some hard truths. Perhaps we're a little bit controlling. Perhaps we're a little bit dishonest. Perhaps sometimes we can be a bit of a dick. And that's fine. That's part of the human psyche. It's what we're here to wake up out of. But it can be hard to confront these things, especially if we deny them in ourselves. And other people might be pointing them out to you at this time. And if they are, don't be a dick. You can be. I've done it. You can be an absolute dick with it and just shoot them down for it and say, I'm having none of that. But only because, recognise, it's only because we're denying it in ourselves. Oh, you're wrong. When really they might be right. And if we offer them the opportunity, they could be our teacher. I'm not saying teach me. I mean, just with that little shop from life that they're giving you, that little cut, that little you're a bit this way, that they might be saying to you, is an opportunity to grow. It's their teaching for us if we can see it that way. If we can't, we can't, right? We don't have to. There's no pressure on us. Sometimes we can't see these things in ourselves yet, and that might mean that you're not waking up as fast as you think. Final thing is that you're waking up faster than perhaps you think, is that you're constantly watching awakening videos. Perhaps you're finding them on YouTube. Perhaps you're going to seminars. Perhaps it's what you want to talk about. Perhaps you're sat at home doing your homework and half-heartedly listening, but you're listening nonetheless. These videos are a beginning of a change. They're a reprogramming. They're like seminars. It's like going to university and coming and taking notes. You don't have to take notes, but we are still filtering and processing this information. And if you're watching them constantly, there's something controlling that. Let's be honest, it's not really you controlling it, is it? You never knew anything about the awakening process before you came into it, but now there's something slap bang in front of you that you're so glued to, that you're gripped to, that feeling wise is making changes in you, good positive feelings, that we're totally connected right now. And this is another sign that you're waking up spiritually. The spiritual path is a feeling path. If you're getting feels, then you might be pretty woke. If you're getting feelings, nice feelings, or sometimes negative feelings as like a mirror of like, I'm not being my best self right now, and other people are showing me that through videos, then that's a sign that you're waking up a lot faster than you think, because it comes down to honesty. You're being honest with yourself. If you're getting emotional feelings from these bodies, there's something in you that recognizes the communication that's coming through this camera or through whoever's doing it. And that's a sign that you're in the right place and that you're waking up a lot faster than you think. Of course, if you wish, down below, I always say it, there's a breathing practice. It will help you accelerate that awakening process. It will also help you ground you on days when you're down. Down below there's the Awakening Accelerator course. It's the daily practices that I did to get me out of the dark night of the soul. They were passed down from my teacher to me. They work. They speak through me. I'm not in much pain anymore. If I am, it's usually me feeling pain for other people, unless I'm betrayed by others. Going back to actually having to cut people out of your life sometimes if they do betray you. I'm currently going through something like that at the moment. Anyway, I'm sure you're going through stuff like that too. But if you wish some sadhana, the breathing practices that I use to help me out of the pain, you're more than welcome to use them down below. They're not free, but they're very affordable. And if you're going through an awakening process and you have nobody to talk to, there's a free community down below. I'll never charge you for it. It's always free. It's on Facebook. It's private. We are creating a sangha. What a sangha is a group of like-minded individuals that are going through an awakening process together. It's difficult when you go through an awakening process on your own. Trust me, I know it. I never had this available to me when I was going through the awakening process, so I want to make it available to you. There's about 200 odd members, there's more than 200 members in there, and everybody's chipping in. Thank you for those people that are chipping in. We're all doing our part, we're all clearing our karmic muck together, and that is a beautiful thing to be a part of. And breathe. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.